As with so many things in life, you don't get to the good bits of caravanning and motorhoming before dealing with the boring stuff. Getting your vehicle serviced, making sure everything works, and sorting out the paperwork. And making sure that your caravan or motorhome insurance is correct is absolutely critical. If it's not, it could really ruin your holiday. I've come to the central London offices of caravanquota.co.uk, caravan insurance specialists, and I'm talking to Ross McGill, who hopefully will be able to give me some tips about insuring my motorhome. Hello, Ross.
Hi, Andy.
The first question is, what are the advantages in using a specialist caravan insurer?
Well, I think there's a layer above that, which is a specialist price comparison service comparing specialist brokers and insurers. Some people will go to their typical brokers where they might get their home or their car insurance and find that those brokers don't either have access to caravan or motorhome insurance policies, or indeed they may not be very competitive because it's not their core line of business. I guess a lot of consumers would like to have a conversation with their broker about their specific demands and needs, and to have a conversation with a broker who understands what they are.
Okay. Well, one of the questions that always stumps me when I'm filling in my application form is the one that asks about the value of the vehicle. Have you got any advice on how to work out what the value of both the vehicle and the contents of the vehicle should be put down as?
There are different measures which insurers would use to value certain types of vehicle or caravans. Some of those services are paid for, so I think it's very important that the customer, as it were, looks to get as accurate as possible valuation. That can be done simply by having a look at what's for sale, through various websites. It's important that you do insure things as accurately as possible, and a good example would be if someone broke into your caravan and stole a TV worth £1,000, and you've got a contents policy within that for £1,000, but actually there's £4,000 worth in total. Because you've underinsured the contents by 75%,
right,
the insurer can underpay your claim by 75%, which means that your £1,000 TV could be worth only £250 in terms of the claim.
Not a good idea. Okay, and talking of contents insurance, I often take away with me things that are normally covered by my household insurance. What's the situation there? If I take away a radio from home, is it covered by the household insurance or the caravan insurance?
It's always really important to look at the terms and conditions of your specific insurance policy. Some household policies will give you a degree of cover for things taken away from the home. Sometimes that's optional and you have to request that at the point of taking out the policy. So it comes down really to looking at the individual policies that you have in place.
So study your domestic insurance before you
very much
take
so.
out caravan insurance.
And your caravan policy as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never understood why it seems to cost far more to insure my car than my motorhome, which in theory is actually worth a lot more. Can you explain that?
I mean, insurance is really about risk analysis, and there'll be a number of factors within that, but typically people that, more accidents are claimed for on insurance, for motor insurance, than they are for motorhomes. You might find, for example, that people drive their cars every day, but actually use their motorhomes quite rarely and frequently. So the likelihood of having an accident is greatly reduced, amongst other things as well.
So it's not just that us caravanners and motorhomers are just much better drivers than everybody else?
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of very good caravan drivers out there.
I think we are.
Drivers.
I think we are.
Quite.
Well, Ross, there are dozens and dozens of specialist caravan insurance companies out there competing for our business. Can you give us some ideas of what to look for to set us off in the right direction?
Well, first of all, the last couple of years has seen the introduction of price comparison services for specialist lines of business like caravans and motorhomes. So actually you can complete one set of questions and get quotes from a wide range of insurers specialising in those lines of business. It's worth remembering that, for example, most insurers will require you to have, as a bare minimum, a hitch lock and a wheel clamp as security measures. And if you don't have those, most insurers won't even give you a quotation. Another thing that people often stumble on, I think, is they select new for old cover instead of market value. Now, the thing is, it's not absolutely rigid, but as a rule of thumb, if your caravan or your motorhome is more than 5 years old, you're not actually going to qualify for new for old cover, which means that you go through the hard work of completing the set of questions, and at the end you get no prices. So it's just worth bearing in mind those sorts of things to make sure you get the best possible choice.
Well, I'll certainly bear that in mind when I'm insuring my 12-year-old motorhome. Thanks very much for that, Ross. I think talking to you has convinced me that motorhome and caravan insurance isn't quite as boring as I thought it was. Thank you.
Thanks.
But it's not as interesting.